let me introduce myself and Videokall. I'm the architect of the first touchscreen kiosks for Disney's Epcot Park to guide visitors on opening day. And that's just a touch of my background today. I'm CEO of Videokall and architecting a new healthcare experience using the first comprehensive, remotely controlled physical exam platform outside the traditional clinic setting. And I want to thank Tian Wong for his referral to this program. My story is simple. When I was young, my dad had to risk our family income, close the store for up to a day, anytime me or any one of my 7 siblings got sick, so that he could drive us to the doctor in the next town. Today, I help provide simple access to quality health care so that families don't experience the similar hardships that I had growing up. According to the CDC, 25% of children between ages of 2 and 8 are already dealing with chronic illnesses which could be better managed with better access to health care. 81% of patients are unsatisfied with their healthcare experiences, as it can take days before getting your appointment and hours to meet with a physician. Now people avoid going to the doctor's office for fear of getting the virus. COVID-19 led to a boom in telehealth, but providers must rely on self-reported information, which makes it challenging to provide an accurate diagnosis. The need for telemedicine, for physical exams, and for protecting patients and medical staff has never been greater. Furthermore, hospitals and clinics face a need to increase revenue and quality and reduce costs. Poor financials have caused many to close their doors altogether. Our solution is a patented smart clinic with a virtual physician who remotely controls and monitors diagnostic instruments, all enabled by a secure private software portal. Find a clinic location, preload data in a mobile app for all visits, walk in, and be immediately connected to a provider for a virtual physical exam. No local medical assistance is required. Connectivity includes satellite. The provider remotely controls and records up to 11 vital signs, just as if you were sitting beside them. Your targeted prescriptions can be sent electronically to your pharmacy. Your patient records are updated and in your app. On exit, the entire cabin self-sanitizes, leaving a pristine environment for the next patient. Our addressable market is $23 billion. The telehealth market grew over 125% annually these past 5 years. 94% of patients accept their child being examined at school before having to leave work, pick up their child, and then take them to the doctor. Parents are juggling responsibilities. The quicker they can get a child to a doctor, the better. Or they can pop by the local grocery store for your child's exam and grab some groceries while there. Supermarkets and secondary schools allow patients and parents, to merge healthcare with their day-to-day activities. We have an addressable market of over 300,000 locations, huge compared to the 2,800 manned clinics in the US today. Digital healthcare is growing at a CAGR of 19%, and we see a massive opportunity to fill a market gap and ride the wave of growth. Current competitors offer video-only visits or mini clinics or kiosks with limited diagnostics. No one compares to the model we offer today. We provide patients easy and safe access to health care, enable providers to connect with patients in new ways. Our model is simple. Units can be purchased, leased, or loaned with bundle maintenance, and we collect a fee from the medical provider for each patient visit. Our overall strategy is to use third parties, especially in manufacturing and field service, and use third-party equipment financing for more consistency with a revenue model. In year 5, we project over 3,000 units in service from 3 to 4 market segments. We're expecting about 5 patients per day per unit minimum, compared to the 10 or 15 per day at CVS. Break even would be by the end of year 2. We have a working prototype cabin and have extracted the smart medical chair for evaluation and early revenue generation. Our current ask of $500,000 will support the clinical validation and market introduction of the chair. We have a planned Series A in June to fund the cabin trial, its market launch, and commercialization. Our first medical providers are GW.
Hers is Digitus and
Insight Associates. We have an LOI from Welltower for a trial with Sunrise Senior Living, and we've received a Tech Innovation Award last fall from Northern Virginia and a Startup Award here at the Innovate Children's Health Challenge. We have 2 patents issued and 3 pending, and our growing and talented team has successfully exited over 10 startups. We have medical and healthcare specialists to support our wellness initiatives and experienced partners in design, manufacturing, and operations. We're poised to trigger a huge shift in healthcare accessibility, and I invite you to join our team as investors and partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlie. Are there any questions? There's one question in the chat box. It's asking, what does the patent cover?
We have one patent which is on our seatback stethoscope. So the patient only has to lean back in the chair, and then the doctor can remotely listen to their lungs. The second patent issued is with the glucose monitor, so that we don't have a litter of meta waste on the floor. And we have a patent pending on the instrument cleaning system for automatic cleaning all the handheld instruments after every patient use, and then 2 other patents pending.
So are these patents issued or granted?
The first 2 are issued. The last 3 are pending resolution by the patent office.
May I know what is the price point that you are looking to market this?
Well, it depends on which perspective you're talking about. The cabin would retail for $85,000 total install price, which is a lot less than a mini clinic or an urgent care center, and probably would lease out at about $3,000 to $4,000 a month, including maintenance. And then if the host or the medical provider provides the capital, they would recover in the capital recovery themselves. If we put up the capital, there's next to no cost to the medical provider. As far as the patient is concerned, they would be charged either an equivalent of a clinic visit or less, because our break-even point is about half that of a manned clinic.
Right, thank you.
There's another one in the chat box by Carrie. Carrie, do you want to ask the question, or should I read it? The question is great. Go ahead.
Will we have in-house medical staff? We're looking to partner with medical providers. GW is one of our first ones. That'll be from the Medical Faculty Associates organization. And then we have a 5-office medical practice that wants to support all the units in Maryland. We are considering putting our own call center together if we have to quickly deploy nationally with chains like Albertsons or Sunrise Senior Living. And then once we get a group of patient units in a particular state, we think it'll be easier to convince a medical center to sign up and take over that revenue. So we have a lot of flexibility in how we roll this out.
So would the revenue model be licensing, or would it be percentage on the visit? Like how does that function, or how do you see that going down?
Good question. I talked about what we get for the equipment if we sold it or leased it. And there's a loaner program for the chair, which would be either weekly or monthly. But yes, our revenue model is that we get a fixed amount per visit to cover the capital recovery and the variable costs and operations for that unit.
I think you have a lot of opportunity for thinking of different models that would work. So very cool.
We found that, I come from the telecom industry, and I was put in charge of the National Regulatory Organization. And I said, how do I deal with this if someone asks me a question? I had no regulatory background at the time. And they basically said, just tell them it varies by jurisdiction, and you're an instant expert. Well, what I learned in talking to supermarkets, senior living, truck stop locations, corporations, it varies depending on who has the need and how and whether they'll have enough traffic for the capital recovery.
Carrie, I just wanted to jump in here. Sorry, this is Vince Waterson with Videokall. Just to add something to what Charlie said, that the organizations which are going to operate our system will actually be, for example, major hospitals. In other words, the branding will not be ours. And it's the hospitals that collect the payment from the patients and then pay us. We are not the organization that takes the payments. We're providing the technology and all the communications in between, and we receive our revenue from the hospitals, not directly from the patients.
Yeah, that's a great point, Vince, because the financial arrangement and the medical arrangement is between the patient and the provider. We're just the intermediary.
So our name won't necessarily be in big print on the cabins. Hopefully it'll be Mayo Clinic or Cleveland Clinic, etc. And we'll be like Intel Inside, if you will, in IBM computer, whatever.
Yeah, your clinic system agnostic. You're going to be letting them be the branding of
Exactly,
your
yeah.
location.
Who knows us? And that's an important point, because to convince a patient to use this new technology, they would need to know that they're going into a well and trusted facility. And in fact, our cabins are an outpatient facility of these major hospitals. And it will say, this service is provided by Mayo Clinic or Cleveland Clinic, etc. And we are just the telecommunications infrastructure behind all this and the technology.
The other point.
Go ahead.
There's a comment came in on connectivity. Vince is one of the co-founders and a satellite expert. And so we designed the original architecture to be able to capitalize on satellite technology in ways other people don't know how to use it, which has garnered us a lot of international interest in the rural areas. But the chair that we're coming out with, as a matter of fact, that first product is shipping next week, thanks to Vince's effort. And that will be able to use either cellular or Wi-Fi. And we have one partner who has a broadband high-power Wi-Fi that we did a couple of joint bids with. So we have that telecom expertise to put together the right backbone for the medical provider to serve a particular geographic
Yeah,
area.
and we intend putting those, one of the places we intend putting the chairs in is in Sprinter vans with a satellite antenna on top. So they can provide, for example, a doorstep service if you want, or rural or whatever, right? Still using
So-
the same satellite technology.
So quick question. You had mentioned Albertsons. And are you contracted with Albertsons right now?
We've been in communication with Albertsons, and the telehealth doctor at GW that we're using happens to be
Sure.
the medical advisor.
Okay, yeah, because you'd also mentioned Higgy as a one of your competitors, and Higgy's got a pretty extensive contract with Albertsons. And I guess my last question, because I may have missed it halfway through because I had to get a child off a bus, but I'm curious. This actually fits obviously for a clinic within a facility. So, so you've looked at CVS and Walgreens, I'm assuming, and pitched to them that you can stand these up within their facilities, and they are the nascent pharmaceutical purveyor then once a clinic visit's already occurred, I assume.
Well, let me just jump in there. You might have observed on the presentation that one of our advisory board is Dr. Nancy Gagliano. She used to be chief medical officer at CVS clinics, Minute Clinic, sorry, for 6 years, and so has inside track. So where we position ourselves with CVS, who has about 8,000 plus stores, we've got all the Target stores as well, is that they currently only have about 1,500 manned clinics. And yes, they are experimenting with other telehealth, but there are thousands of other CVS stores that could not, it would not be viable for them to have a manned, staffed by nurse practitioner clinic. And our model is really moving the expensive point of care nurse practitioner from the point of service in the store back to medical call center at a hospital. And we've been able to achieve this through being able to, really important, to be able to clean automatically our
So
cabins in between service.
Vince and Charlie, so I think you have a lot of interest on the call. I think if you could please put your email and your telephone number in the chat box, people can get back with you.
Yeah, please.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Thank you all.